Hi, I'm Sarah, here for some yoga. Welcome, welcome. So grateful you're joining me. Today's practice is inspired by one word, steadiness, and that can be found in Alma, chapter 39, verse 1. The come follow me for this week is Alma 39 through 42, and I actually took all the inspiration from the very first verse, one word, steadiness. I looked it up and I loved that it defined so much of what I was just thinking about that could be so grounding. It has two definitions that spoke to me, and one was firmness of purpose and stable in position. And I just feel like in a climate where so many things are unsettling and unknown, to take some moments to intentionally ground and center in steadiness can be a beautiful tool both on and off the mat. And as we're on the mat today and we're going through the different poses, notice how different shapes will make us unsteady. We'll teeter-totter in some way, and some shapes we might notice that we overextend, or some shapes we might notice that we hold back. And just notice where that comes up, and could we stretch a little further, or could we pull ourselves back a little bit to maintain that firmness of our purpose and our bodies. So we are starting today in easy seated pose. Take those legs separate from one another, stacking tall on the hips, and let's begin. Hands to the outer parts of each knee, close the eyes, stack the shoulders over the hips and the heads over the shoulders. And take just a moment to breathe. Now, inhale through the nose, and then exhale through the mouth, just a sigh. Good, and then inhale through the nose. Exhale, take a sigh. Good, and just notice the breath. Is it up in the chest? Could we draw it a little bit lower down into the belly breath? Are the shoulders tight? Could they relax? And let's create steadiness with our breath. 3-part breath, inhaling from the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And then exhaling from the chest, the ribs, back into the belly. Good. And again, inhale, belly, ribs, chest, feeling that expansion. Exhaling from the chest, the ribs, back into the belly. Noticing that at any time, any place, we can center ourselves in steadiness through the breath. Take those hands to either side, reach, circle sweep those arms up towards the sky, and then lower your left arm and extend your right to the sky. Softly bending that elbow and taking the gaze either towards the sky or the earth. Maybe we allow that elbow to rest on the earth. And then lifting and wrapping. Taking those left fingertips to the outside of the right knee. Using that belly breath, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And then centering up, seated position, cat-cow in a seated position. So we're rounding through the spine, and then we're extending and letting that gaze come towards the sky. Exhaling, rounding, inhaling, coming up towards the sky. One more time, exhaling, rounding, inhaling, coming up towards the sky. This time, the left fingertips reach up towards the sky. Again, that gaze could be upwards, could be towards the earth. Maybe we're working to rest that forearm on the ground. And the next breath sweeps us around, wraps right arm to the outside of the left leg. That's beautiful. Now coming back to those knee-to-knee positions. This time, instead of that cat-cow, just take a circle with the spine and the body. Noticing that shifting sensation, the body automatically working in opposition to maintain and recorrect in balance as we shift directions. And then come right to the heart. Close those eyes and place your intention on the word steadiness. And think of a place somewhere in the world that feels steady to you. Take a minute to identify the surroundings. It might be a place that you go to often. It may be a place you've only traveled to once. It may be a place you've never been, but you can clearly paint the picture in your mind. And as you stand in this place that brings steadiness to your heart and mind, notice that you're not in that place and space alone. The person that is with you is a person that brings steadiness into your heart and mind. This person might be someone that you know very well. It could be someone that you've only met once. It might be someone that you've never actually met, but that their life and what you know about them invokes steadiness to your heart and mind. So take a moment, picture that place, picture that person right along there with you. And just soak in that steadiness together. I invite you to bring along this place and person into your practice today. Use those hands as a reminder. So anytime those hands touch together, or anytime those hands touch the body or the mat, let them be a call to remember that place and that person of steadiness. From here, let's rotate onto all fours, tabletop position. We've warmed the spine a bit, but let's take just one more breath, exhaling through cat, inhaling through cow. And then if the toes aren't already there, let's curl them under, lift the knees, engage the belly, feeling that floating tabletop position, and reach back, deep knee bend, fire dog. Inhaling, floating table, exhaling, fire dog. 2 more breaths. Inhaling, floating table. Exhale, fire dog. Inhale, floating table. Exhale, fire dog. From here, extend those legs. Adjust the body however you need. Pedal through those heels. Release the shoulders away from the ears. And find your first downward facing dog for today. Wide fingertips, pressing those palms into the earth. And then gazing towards those palms, softly bending the knees, lowering them all the way to the earth. Shifting forward to that kneeling plank position as we lower down. Inhaling, gentle cobra. Exhale, press in the belly, press in the palms as the belly and hips lift, and then reach back. child's pose. Curl the toes under, lifting to downward facing dog. We could stay on those knees or take it from the toes, lowering down no more than halfway, shifting and lifting to upward facing dog, and then releasing back, downward facing dog. One more time, moving with steady intention. So we're staying in that plank, maybe just a moment longer. We're lowering down either halfway or to the earth, and we're shifting up, cobra or upward facing dog. And then releasing back, downward facing dog. Now I'll continue to talk through as your mirror. If you are facing me straight on, I would be like a mirror for you today. So you'll lift your left leg, pull that left knee in towards your chest, and step it between the hands. Keeping the back leg lifted, we press high on the ball of the foot, and we press into the left leg, letting those hands connect to the body. Maybe for just a moment, connecting elbow to elbow. And then from here, those hands, heart center, shifting and twisting. We take the right elbow to the outside of your left knee, looking either straight out or possibly up towards the sky. Pressing into that front foot, unraveling, twisting and opening. Warrior two. Your left leg is forward, long and extended. From fingertip to fingertip, stretching along from one horizon to the other. Those left fingertips rotate towards the sky and we reach up, reverse warrior. And then we let the body sweep into side angle, resting possibly on the top of the leg or maybe extending those fingertips. We're working an extended side angle today, which means that top right arm is coming towards the ear. We can take that gaze down towards the earth, or possibly bringing it out or even up. Beautiful. From this place, walking hand over hand, pointing those toes forward. Gazing in between the legs, and remembering that the wider we take those legs, the easier it will be for those hands to connect on the earth. And in this position, we take your right hand underneath the nose, left hand, maybe it wraps behind the back, maybe it connects, and we add a small rotation, keeping those hips square, lifting and twisting through the spine. And from here, lower those fingertips down towards the earth, walking hand over hand forward into a plank position. Nice wide toe. Now I know I didn't warn you on this, so I apologize if you're hitting a couch or a bed right now. Please adjust. And then come on back. All right, in this wide toe position, we can keep these hands exactly where they are, or for a different sensation, we can take the palm and connect it to the base of each foot. Possibly bending those knees and arms as we need. Noticing that in this unsteadiness of position, we can find steadiness. And from here, take hand over hand back to the center. Toe heel those legs to about shoulder distance apart. And then lower, deep knee bend, Malasana. Bringing those hands together, rocking forward and back. So this can be a beautiful place to just feel some sensations happening in our hips. And if we notice that this deep knee bend is too intense for the body, we can come up and work that position, keeping that knee above the 90-degree angle, hinge position. Otherwise, we can come, drop into that space, drop into those hips, rock side to side. Maybe we choose to stay here. Maybe we choose to come up into an arm balance, taking crow. So we're pressing those palms into the earth, shifting our weight from our heels into the balls of our feet and actually lifting those heels off of the earth. Wide fingertips, pressing those palms into the earth. We lift the hips and our sensation is taking us forward. Long in the spine, steady eyes, lifting and breathing. And then releasing those feet back. Stepping hands towards your back of the mat and releasing. Downward facing dog. Bending the knees and shifting back into child's pose. Beautiful. Curling the toes, lifting the hips. Again, finding downward facing dog. This time, your right leg lifts up and your right leg carries itself in between both hands. Lifting the heel of the left foot, we step up in the body, or hinge up in the body, to that high lunge position. Maybe taking elbow to elbow for a moment. And then coming heart center with those hands, placing hand to hand, reconnecting with that intention, and twisting your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. Just stretching that heart, allowing it to open and expand, even in this unsteady space. Pinwheeling those arms, opening up, warrior two. Your right fingertips rotate to the sky and reach up, reverse warrior. And then from here, take yourself to side angle. Again, noticing that the hand can rest on the knee or extend, but those top fingertips are coming towards the ear. And from here, pinwheeling that full circle, pointing toes forward. Your left hand centers between the nose and the right fingertips reach themselves towards the sky. Now sometimes those hips want to start shifting from one side to the other, kind of like a sassy teenager. Keep those hips square. Imagine you are placing a drink on that very backside part and trying to keep it balanced. And keeping it balanced as we walk hand over hand to that wide plank position. And then coming back, hand over hand. And we can go back to those hands connecting underneath the feet, Another place and space that we can take them is going into that elbow to elbow sensation, wrapping behind the back. And then letting the hands fall towards the earth. Toe healing. Again, entering Malasana. However that variation works for us, possibly staying higher and lifted, possibly coming lower into that space, maybe rocking side to side, and maybe playing here with all of this. This is an unsteady space, especially in those, as we work through those hips, and we're finding steadiness through working through that positioning in place. We may also choose to take that crow again. So we're placing the fingertips shoulder distance apart. We're lifting the hips, lifting those heels, and then the top of the knee rests on the very top side of the arm. The higher the knee, the more steadiness we'll find as we shift ourselves forward. If we're trying to keep the knees low, all we do is put pressure on our elbow joint. That doesn't feel very good. So we want to come way up here with those knees and arms, shoulder distance apart, wide fingertips. We begin by lifting the hips and then just letting ourselves travel forward. Maybe a toe comes off, maybe it doesn't. Good news is the floor is close if that unsteadiness wins. And then release back down. Beautiful job, friends. Come into a seated position. Take those legs out in front of you. Staff pose for just a moment. Pointing those fingertips forward, flexing through the heels, and extending through the crown of the head. Close those eyes and take just a moment. Breathe it in. Beautiful. Now, bending your right leg, keeping your left leg extended. Plant the foot nice and firm. And we're going to wrap the arms maybe in a couple different ways today. And we're first taking the right arm to the inside of the right foot. So we're nice and protected inside. And we could stay here with a nice rotation looking over your left shoulder. Deeper sensation is wrapping those fingertips together. So what happens is I take that arm and I rotate it around the front side of that right leg. My back hand reaches behind and connects. From here, I'm working to lengthen that heart and spine up in stability as I rotate, looking over the left shoulder. From here, release that noodle-like sensation. Taking the foot and crossing it over. Lifting this time your left arm and taking it to the outside of the right knee. This bottom leg could stay extended, or we might like bending that elbow in. And same sensation, we take that twist and feel that twisting sensation, or we add the bind, where we take this time, the hand wraps through that hole of the leg, and then we connect, working ourselves around. And again, we have some curvature that will naturally happen. We work to elongate and lengthen that spine. Noticing some sensations in the hips and the body. Beautiful. Release and untwist all of that noodle-like movement. Place the feet firmly planted, knees bent, fingertips pointed forward, and for just a moment, lift the hips, reverse tabletop. And then exhale, release. Let's take the other side. Your right leg extends, your left leg bends, and we bring same arm as leg to the inside. We rotate and look over the right shoulder. Or for a deeper sensation, we give ourselves a hug, wrapping around the outside of the leg and making that connection. And on this next breath, releasing, lifting the left leg up and over the right, taking the opposite arm across the outside of that left leg. Now, we could take those arms, keep them exactly where they're at. We could take that bottom leg and give it a bend. So we're keeping one raised, we're working one bent towards the earth. Same sensation, we can rotate and twist. Deeper sensation, we create that hole, tucking underneath through that little window, hand to hand, and then working to elongate the spine from there. We might notice we connect in some of these binds and not others. Totally normal. It's just our body has some mobility that speaks a little different in some places than others. We might notice that we don't ever make a connection. Totally fine as well. All we're doing here is just looking to create some kind of a twist and releasing back out of it. Again, plant those feet, reverse tabletop, inhaling up and exhaling down. Now today I will talk you through this final visualization and meditation from a seated position. You are welcome to stay with me right here in this seated space. If you prefer to lie down, maybe you have a pillow or something that adds an additional support, some type of a bolster, please grab that and use that now. As you're finding that space, whether you're seated or lying down on the mat, we'll take these next few moments gathering together a meditation and visualization. And those hands, maybe they're placed on the outer edges of your knees if you're seated. Maybe those hands are open palms towards the sky if you're lying down. But as we again visualize on the hands, our minds come into the steadiness, that image that we created at the beginning of our practice. We close the eyes and we find that place that brings steadiness. And we also remember that steady person that we brought along. And on your next breath, center yourself so that you're face to face with this person. You can see the details of who they are. But most importantly, you see their eyes. And even in all the chaos and the unsettling that we all experience, a connection with these eyes is a connection of light, hope, calm, and peace. And as you look and you see, you notice that this dear friend that offers steadiness does so without any judgment of your unsteadiness, that overwhelm, anxiousness, those feelings we all experience, unsettled, troubled, discouraged, depressed. This person loves. And welcomes the journey right along with you through all of it. now for a moment you close your eyes and your friend and you come side by side next to each other and you look at this place. And in this place is some element of nature. Take your eyes and find that some point of nature. It could be a small plant. It could be a large field. It could be a vast forest. But notice that whatever it is that you are seeing with nature, whether it's the grains along the beach of an ocean, or the flakes and flutters of snow, if we pull one of those small things out, it seems insignificant. One blade of grass, one leaf of a tree, one grain of sand. Yet, when nourished and when multiplied, it expands and creates steadiness and beauty. And just like nature has this beautiful rhythm and flow of steadiness, this dear friend that is with you nourishes you. And we take that nourishment that we see in nature, we take that nourishment that we see from our dear friend, and as if we were cupping it into our hands, we pull it into our hearts. And we think of what it is that you might say to nourish yourself. What are those exact words that you need to hear right now? Hands to the heart, that nourish you. What would this dear friend say or do to give you that nourishment, to grow that steadiness from within? Remember, you have the ability to access this steadiness within your own mind, within your own heart, anytime, any place. Take those words and actions, no matter how small they are, just like a grain of sand to add into your day today. The light within me honors the light within you. Namaste. I invite you to write down whatever word or phrase or feeling or thought that came in that visualization today. Use it as a guidepost in your intention throughout the day and possibly even the week. Have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for being here.